It's the Ep by Ep with Scott and Toby. We're talking On Children, Episode 3, Last Days of Molly. It's going to be pretty spoiler heavy, so be warned. But kick on, and I'll see you on the other side.
Well, it's not tea. It's I guess it is tea. Is it tea?
Are you herbalising?
Herbalising, yes. Puka herbal teas.
Toby, you look fresh shaved.
This is the first time for our esteemed listeners that I have been clean shaven for 25 years.
Wow.
Or thereabouts.
Far out. Any reason? Just time?
I was bored. That's literally it. My daughter was like, whoa, who the hell is it? She's never seen it either. So, and she's 11 on September 28th.
Oh, coming up.
Yeah, well, I'm like the same with every time I walk past a mirror or a window, I'm like,
oh, my little brother's here. Oh no, it's just me.
Yeah. Who is this man? To be fair, I feel like I look older than younger when I see myself in the. Do you not think?
Nah, you look about 44. No, you definitely don't look mid-40s, mate. I mean, I don't think your beard made you look old, but you definitely look younger without it.
Okay. And
you're wearing a backwards cap right now?
I am indeed, yes.
That is definitely helping the youth look.
Sick.
Just grab a skateboard.
Fall off it.
And
bandage my knee up.
Wrap a pack of cigarettes into your sleeve. Oh, okay, that's maybe
that's
the wrong era.
Going 80s. Nice.
Hey, it's me, Scott. Toby, we've never introduced ourselves, or if we do, I always cut it out.
Oh.
Just say hello and who you are.
Hey, my name is Toby.
Because I listen to a few podcasts, and it's the same as watching a film when you get to the end and you don't know the characters' names and you feel like it didn't matter. And I've been listening to more podcasts recently, as we talk about in another podcast on podcast. There's just somewhere I don't know who's who.
Yeah.
And since there's two of us, I feel like we can skip that, Toby.
Yes. Scott, you're completely right. Welcome to our podcast.
Good introduction. 25 episodes in the middle of a run. So we're kicking on with On Children, episode 3. It's got a name, is it?
The Last Days of Molly, yes.
Right. And we've been quite
damning,
not mockery, but
it's like a damning.
I mean, it's not that we're not taking it seriously, but this particular episode does deal with like teen suicide. So I did want to say on a bit of a serious note, like take that shit seriously, like mental health, social anxiety, depression.
Be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, like trust in your loved ones that you trust. And in failing this, there are so many helplines, free places, people you can speak to in safe and confidential places. And they are just not hard to find.
Exactly. Help is just a phone call away.
If you find yourself suffering from any of these, and it doesn't have to be serious. I feel like but movies and certain media portrayals kind of take it extreme. So I don't know if it's a sensation of, well, I'm not as bad as that guy. So, but you know what? We're in the 2020s now. I think all fucking stigma of this shit should just be flushed down the toilet. I think, especially post COVID lockdown, everyone has suffered from some kind of anxiety of some kind, and you don't have to suffer alone. No,
exactly. Very good point, Scott. Well opened.
Just wanted to say that before we make fun for the next hour.
Yeah.
So I did a bit of research
episode 3
On Children, and it's all kind of written and directed by the same person. This one, I think a few of them have been based on novels, and this one is based on a novel by Xiangli Wu. Pronunciation pending someone else's approval. It's Taiwanese, on the off chance you're just joining us on episode 3. And it's like an anthology season where each episode is its own story at a whopping hour and a half.
Yeah, and some.
Sounds like I'm sort of like, an hour and a half's not that bad, but
no, this is an hour and a half you feel every second of. And in a good way sometimes.
This episode stars Ivy Yin as Lynn's mother. I don't know if we get a name of her. And Shangle Wang as Molly herself. And there's a supporting cast of a sister and friends and another teacher who kind of proves out to be helpful and good. And we will kick on with what this episode is about. I keep reading the little synopsis thinking, oh, that episode sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Where did you stand on this? Open with, because we opened with the last one with like just went straight in and was like, that was just a pile of turds. Where did you stand on this?
This one had some solid heart and a nice story, but by God, did it get lost? I don't know, not up its ass, but
I thought it was very good in its portrayal and its seriousness and its, well, not seriousness, but it felt more grounded than the previous two by some way. Apart from the sciencey fictiony bit, I thought a lot of it was very realistic, and for that I give it kudos.
We slightly shifted away from the fantasy realism of the first few eps. We get a bit of a shift this one because we mostly actually follow the mother in this story for the first time. And if you've been listening to our other series, you will, like me and Toby got, we're on our third or fourth episode now. Third. And even in the second one, we said, they're sort of, the first episode really blamed that mum for the stress. And then the second episode, it's like, this is a different type of mother. She's working class, but we blame her.
Yeah.
And so now we're back to quite a rich family. And the show starts off, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
They kind of start off just a little bit nice. And I thought, boom.
Okay,
let's move away from...
Switch it up a bit.
Let's move away from the mother being just the core, let's face it, the core blame reason.
The root of all problems.
Yeah. It doesn't take too long before we actually switch back again and realize, oh no, the mother is in fact the core root of all the issues.
Yep. It's expectation, isn't it? That's what I think.
But so we have Molly, who is coming up to her exams again. And we have her sister, who is 2 years younger.
Yeah, very much a lot more carefree.
I guess we can get into that. I don't know why she got the free pass. She just had attitude.
Yeah. I think
don't know if there was pressure, she wasn't taking her key exams, and the mother was like, I'll deal with you when the time comes, one at a time.
Yeah. I don't know do you know what the age difference between the two of them was?
I mean, it felt like a year. Actress-wise, it didn't feel like there was any.
No, I guess for me, the reason behind that difference between the two would be that the mother has already pigeonholed Molly as the one that's going to succeed. She's clear from the get-go that she just doesn't really regard the second sister as much of anything.
Like she's the dummy of the family.
Yeah.
Which I don't agree. She seemed to be doing fine. She was just a regular kid. Yeah,
exactly.
But she did have...
Molly was taking the flag bearer for
the... And as a result, at least for the little we get to know at the beginning, she actually has less personality. Molly just keeps her head down and
studies,
suffers in silence. And the younger sister kind of not punk, but she could sass back to her mum and almost like she was the daddy's girl, I suppose, in a sense, because we get the dad in this film, and do they portray him as we have been portraying dads? They are a loving family in this one, which we haven't seen.
Yeah, they're together.
Yet.
Yeah, that's true.
We have a whole family that are together. He's pretty chill.
He's not really there though, is he? Let's be honest. He's there, but only when addressed. If he's brought into something, otherwise his head's in his phone, and that's.
I've never had a dinner where everyone was on their phone like that.
No, I can't.
We see that a lot in there was an animation we both really like, the Mitchells versus the Machines, and a lot of American comedy culture.
Oh yes, and they were all sat around.
Seems to sort of have this joke about hey man, that's my family, and then they'll pan and everyone's on their phone at a dinner table.
Yeah, I guess I'm of an age where my parents, they didn't know what a smartphone is, and my dad still doesn't know what a smartphone is.
I guess if there's anyone our age with a 14, 15-year-old, I'd like to hear not concerns, but how much you're on your phone and how much you feel your child is on their phone.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't have.
It's appropriate.
I wouldn't be I've been in relationships where I've had my phone out while we're eating dinner, but I've never been in a family unit environment and sat at a table and had my phone out. There's just no way. If I was at a girlfriend's house and we were having dinner with their parents, there's absolutely no way I'd pull my phone out of the table. Molly, well, during this dinner scene anyway, the mother's not on her phone. She's the one that dishes up the food and serves the food and is talking about success and expectation and how people aren't living up to her esteemed values,
being that
and the pedestal that she puts herself on is so far above everyone else.
We talk about how one of them is like, "Hey, Mom, you were like a prestigious professor."
You're a professor, yes.
I mean, I don't know if I'm ever doing some DIY and I need a hammer. I will borrow one off the filmmakers because they like to hammer in their goddamn point bluntly.
Yeah. She did.
But so anyway, this dinner sort of ends with the husband just sighing his way off.
Yeah.
The youngest daughter just like, peace out, I'm off.
Yeah.
I ain't even studying tonight. Molly just stuck there with the mum like, yo, is your study plan? Give me your study plan. What's your study? I'm going to just sit in the room while you study. It's the best way for you. I'm literally going to hover and watch you study.
Scowl, judge.
I guess it's around here. It gets a little confusing with flashbacks and forwards because as a filmmaker, I'm like, yo, tint one of them, black and white one of them, make clear changes so we know what time when you're doing a flashback or forward.
I didn't struggle with this as much by the sounds of it because it was that we went into a computer monitor, didn't we?
I mean, later on we did, but for a while there's just genuine flashbacks.
Is there?
Because the following thing that happens is Molly commits suicide pretty early on, right?
Yeah, she takes her shoes off and just steps up onto the railings and jumps.
And the family's sort of in hysterics and screaming, and we sort of cut. But after this point, we are getting these. Before she enters the machine, we are cutting back to both daughters without. I mean, I don't know.
Okay,
there was a few times I was like, "Is this years later with the sister growing up, or is that like it just indicate have some clear color schemes?" It's a very easy thing to do, and I'm going to say this is like not problematic at all, but where my frustrations at the mum started so early.
Right. Okay.
We got this really clear picture of how harsh the mum was, how heavy she is with her eldest. Very much like the other episodes, she's like, what you do is reflects on me. They're going to think I failed. And even one of the youngest is like, who's watching you? Like, who are you even talking about? But so
it's just a society, isn't it? And her, societal pressures. Yeah, her perceptions on the outside world looking in, judging her, even though they're not even gazing in her way. There is no reason for them to be judging her, but she is brought up under the same, I would guess, regimental, everybody's watching, everybody's judging, the same way that she's applying that pressure to Molly. That pressure was applied to her, and it's extended beyond.
You think it's a circle?
Yeah, exactly that.
But so we basically then a few flashbacks which don't really give us much. Molly riding and Molly, I guess, just how hard studies are getting. Like, I think there's just a scene where, and I might be getting mixed up between flashbacks and living the memory because I'll cut it short in a bit. But the mum is basically trying to figure out who is to blame.
Yeah, for her death.
A sort of anger, and that I found that hard because it was like, yo, she literally like, who's this boy that's her friend? He's a bad influence. I think it's his fault. She finds out her daughter went to a psychiatrist, goes to the psychiatrist. Oh God, we'll talk about the effing psychiatrist in a bit. Little miss eye roller. Jeez. And it's literally after about 2 minutes of talking to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist, I don't know if she's a psychiatrist, a social worker, a doctor, I'm not sure, but something along those lines. There's still patient confidentiality. Like, I can't just flat out tell you this stuff. And she's like, you're a bad doctor. You're the reason she killed herself. Like, damn, his mother is just flat out putting blame on people in 30 seconds.
Well, this is exactly what I liked about it, was that the whole thing is about her coming to a realization of who is to blame for her daughter's death. And it does take an hour and a half for her to get there. And every time you think it's obvious and she's going to get it this time, she blames somebody else. And she does this throughout the whole thing. And I think I thought that was really good. And I kind of, although it was, like you say, ham-fisted, it did work in its sense that it felt realistic. She's never going to see herself to blame, as she's the last person that is to blame. How could it be her? She's so damn perfect. Why would it be her?
100% believes that everything she was doing was for her daughter, and therefore was good for her.
Yeah.
I guess you're totally right, and that was some of the emotional punch that comes later is back on because of that. But I guess as a film and as us, an audience watching, maybe it would have been nicer if they didn't flat out show us. Maybe we could have come to that realization with her. Show the mother's point of view only for the first half, as it were, and then slowly show us, damn, she thought she was being helpful, but she was being controlling, because we, like I said, so early on, smack in the face with a hammer, this mother horrible. And we've seen the other 2 episodes. Just, you know, if we just watch this as a film, good point. Maybe we can say, interesting. But it's like, we saw the other 2 episodes.
This is why why a half an hour in all 3 episodes, I paused it to see how much time is left, and it's another hour to go. I was like, oh God. Yeah, no, that's a very, very astute spot. We are revealed that the mother is to blame. Well, as an audience members, we pick it up very quickly. How we get there, though, is mildly interesting, I guess.
So I would say at this point, the dad flat out disappears.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. He steps right out of it. I don't even think he's in the background. He's just not there after this scene.
There's a section where they're in bed together, and he's just huffing it. He just does a lot of sighing, and that's it, really. Because he's just a non-event. He's always in his phone.
So the mother is basically fishing around, finding out who her friends are, etc. Can't really come to much. And then I don't know how this happens. She just meets a man.
Well, she's having they're having a meal with Molly.
They're just.
It's one of your. Is this a flashback? Is this not a flash forward? What is this? They're sitting around an acquaintance's meal. And they've got the daughters, and she's doing like we saw in episode 2, where everybody's bigging up their children. She's saying how great Molly's going to be, how she's going to be like her and become a professor and go to university and take a master's in the USA. And, you know, pedestal.
It's very plotted out, like the next 30 years of her life was plotted out.
Yeah. One of the guys that's on the table is a doctor, and she asks the question, what do you do? And he says he's doing this avant-garde sort of, well, I guess what do you call it?
Memory access, computer memory access on people.
Yeah, that's it.
I went dumb there. Computer in brain, man.
This Black
equal memory that I can watch on computer screen.
It's basically accessing the memories of the dead, is what he's doing.
Yep, just
using a computer.
Oh, well, at this stage, not even the dead.
No, he's just. We don't. It's not even a focus, is it? You just hear this. And then we join her going around visiting people in the real world, trying to figure out whose fault it was. And then she comes to the conclusion via the doctor, I believe, like a conversation.
Okay, we can talk about this doctor, right? Because, like I said, she finds her daughter was going to the doctor's, some sort of psychiatrist, social worker. And I guess the mother ends up seeing her as a psychiatrist because she just won't give anything out about the daughter. And I'm going to say her acting was just awkward as hell. No,
she did.
Because you could see this doctor totally understanding that I know for a fact that this woman put so much pressure on her daughter. She's the reason. Yeah. But she just rolls her eyes. It's like she's looking at the clock every 30 seconds. As a professional and as someone who was talking to a bereaved mother with, you know what I mean, as strict as she was or not, she cold.
Yes, she was.
She needs some sort of training. She is cold.
Yeah.
She was like Nurse Ratched style.
I wouldn't want her to be my doctor.
And this wasn't just a doctor. This was like a lay on the sofa and tell me your problems. And you know what I mean? Like, not that they're to soothe your ego, but I kind of put it all on the actress or the director. But man, I couldn't help but almost laugh every time she was on screen.
Smile. Yeah,
it was just so over the top and too much for me.
Yeah, it's very clunky.
Yeah, the mum ends up speaking to this doctor guy and says, "Hey, I want you. Here's all my daughter's, I don't know, diaries."
Oh, okay. So you're talking about the guy from the table now, yeah?
Yeah. Sorry. The memory doctor. I don't know, because I really felt like there was a recut of this to explain something, because I really thought they kept sort of showing this macro of the girl's computer and camera and stuff, and nothing really came of that.
No,
because I think this guy who does the memory doctor never really has done it before, and let alone on someone who's passed away.
Yeah.
So she was like, here's all her diaries. Here's her like video diary camera. Here's the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Here's all the footage of her, and that didn't really come to anything.
Because he basically, that's it. Because it's an aggregator in essence. It takes all the information that's available to it and assimilates it, and then spits out sort of memories and an approximation of what they were thinking and who they were as a person. That's the idea behind this computer. It takes information and then assimilates it into a.
But a key bit of information is they have to bring the body around, inject, I don't know, electrolytes into her brain and sort of scan her brain.
Yeah, this is after he's come to the conclusion that the diaries and the CCTV footage and the school reports and the grades and everything that she can gather from just not the body of her daughter isn't going to suffice in getting the answers that she's looking for. So he says, well, there's this other phase that I've never tested on anything before, but it will involve me injecting and restarting the brain of your dead daughter for a couple of seconds so that I can download via a USB stick.
Yeah, and I think the greatest text message to a recently, like, her daughter has died a suicide, and then she takes the body to this memory doctor where he's going to do stuff, and she gets the greatest text ever texted. Beep, beep, beep. Text. Your daughter has been resurrected.
Yes.
End of message.
Dot, flash.
Smooth.
Flash.
Oh, yeah. Is she alive?
Your daughter has been resurrected.
Not, hey, come in and speak. Just flat out, your daughter has been resurrected.
Yes, it's worked. Come and see.
I'm not a guy. This guy's manner is just as awkward and dumb as the psychiatrist. But we'll come to that in a bit, because he also has one of my favorite lines off the shows, which is just like a sort of a doy moment. I like it because it's like like the other two, it's just so juxtaposing that there's very little humor in these.
Yeah,
they're all done no humor very po-faced, very
stoic.
So for me to burst out laughing, doesn't feel great, but I'll explain.
Inappropriate, Scott. Inappropriate.
So the mum sort of does it chronologically backwards. So she basically puts the machine on her head and sort of goes VR mode,
like a VR headset.
And it's sort of, I mean, it's shown to us just by more camera work. It's not POV or anything. It's just and for some reason she just goes to like 10 minutes before the suicide. And she's just writing, and then basically you get nothing from that. No. And for us, we've already seen that.
Is this the bit where she's looking at the macro of the writing book?
The ants.
She's writing it with the ants crawling over the top of it. Yeah. Which made no sense to me. I can't point why there was ants on the page.
I don't know if that's a symbol of something. Ants represent desperation. When in that sense, because I've seen it in a few films where someone in like a total despair, just like a horror film, like ants. So I've got a feeling they're symbolic of something. Like a raven is symbolic of death, or like a harbinger of death or something. Or it was just cool imagery. I don't know. But she's just writing, and there's just a few ants on her homework.
Yeah. Then she just gets up and
nothing really comes of this. I don't know. And then mother basically wants to keep coming back and doing different memories. Like, oh, can you take me a day before, a week before? Yeah. And I think that's where we get the line from this memory doctor guy. I'm worried that living in your dead daughter's mind will affect your mood. Yeah? You reckon?
Yeah.
The daughter who just committed suicide, and you're now living in her suicidal mind, like a month after she died, might affect your mood. Yeah? I don't know. That's something
yeah, good leap.
That was my burst out moment, laughing.
But it's through these memories that she meets the boy, doesn't she?
Yeah, we basically get
she thinks it's the boyfriend.
Secret life. She's in a writing class. She's skipping certain classes, and all throughout we're getting just moments of how harsh the mum was. I think. Yeah. I don't know too much about Taiwan. I know certain in summer, the temperatures can get so hot that you basically start school at the crack of dawn and just take a really long lunch break when the heat is at its hottest, and then you come back until the evening.
Because they're sleeping, aren't they? There's a section where they're all
they
asleep
just
in the
get
class.
this sort of nap time, even as 16-year-olds, and she's just pulled out. It's like, yeah, your mum.
I did think that was weird.
Your mum wants us to sort of pull you into like this study class.
Yeah, extra.
So she's
study
just
class,
basically just study. Like I said, when she's at home and she's studying, her mum is just sat in the room, and when she's not, she's got like just cameras in the room, and she's just watching her anyway.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we sort of get this secret life. She's sort of writing this short story, and she's got this friend who is a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I guess there's like, is there a romance here?
Mm.
And they go to like they sort of sneak out of class, and there's like a writer doing a speech, like a reading, a meet and greet thing. And so she's like, I'm a big fan of yours.
Favorite novel lists.
I love your work. I want to be a writer. I've got a book I've been working on. Will you look at it? She's like, yeah, sure. I guess there's a competition coming up.
She says, if you want to stay behind afterwards, and I'll take you all to the pub, and I'll go through your work and have a look over it. And she gives this Molly the eye of like, that includes you. At which point she gets a text message from a overbearing mother.
It's just like, yo, you coming home?
Where are you?
The girl basically makes the decision to like ditch the writer and go home. I guess this is where the mum sort of is like sad. So you're like, oh, I think she's getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then she goes to the boy. The boy is just walking one day.
Yeah, she hangs outside the school, doesn't she? She turns up at the school.
And she's like, are you her boyfriend? You're the reason she killed herself. You dirty little boy. Like, oh, for fuck's sake. I thought we just went through this. I thought you got it. I mean, I guess, would you want a simple answer? I'm guessing when you go through something like this, you are sort of like, there has to be someone to blame. There has to be like, you want to just, your own mind seems to need to simplify it. There has to have been
to reason it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's in defense of everything I've just been saying to slag her off. But so the boy's like, yo, I'm gay. Everyone knows I'm gay. Knock that shit off. So the mum does more of a deep dive into this author.
The boy does give her a sort of good telling to, doesn't he?
See, this was the point I wrote the notes. So I want to slap this woman. You know, like the mother was
read the book, basically. He said, like, read her work.
Yeah, he launches into her. He's like, you're terrible. Stop telling me you don't know your daughter. Like, your daughter was so secretive because of you. You're a horrible person. You want to know her? Like, read her work. Like, there's ways to know her.
Really good.
Yeah, like everyone said she was a great writer. And she's like, who said that? Man, she's like, what the hell? This kid is like, big up your daughter. She was a talented, creative person. And the mum just flips back to like, nah, who said that? I don't think so. What's creative writing? Like, geez.
Yeah.
So the mother starts reading the work, not her daughter's work, but the work of the author that she appreciated. And I will say, like, that writer woman was really nice to her. And each episode we do get someone like a teacher or a tutor or someone of educational authority who's really nice to them, which is cool. But I'm starting to think, like, is this funded by the Educational Board and government to the point where you're obliged to have, you know, school is good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not all bad.
But we do get this figure in each of the episodes at this stage. But so it sort of turns out that I guess the daughter was gay or bi-curious or gay-curious or, I mean, potentially even just reading some like YA gay material if it wasn't subtle enough and people go, no, she's 100% gay.
She was self-harming as well, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So she was definitely going through something that many teens go through, just in deepest, darkest secrets, and a lot of it was being written and coming out through her work, I guess.
But so the mum just quite grossly drops this massive homophobic bombshell where she's like, I didn't know my daughter was reading this dirty. She's too young. She's confused. You know, it's just, oh man, every time we think we're getting on with this mother or that we can understand her, she takes 2 steps back.
Yeah.
She just comes out, you know.
She finds somebody else to blame, basically.
Yeah.
This is what the whole show is about, is acceptance of culpabilities. Yeah.
In the present day, you know, long after Molly's died, a couple of months, like the daughter comes home and she's, I don't know, but given up studying it. She's even more rock and roll. And the mother is sort of like, she's going to hit her. Something stops her. And as she sort of sees Molly there, it's starting to get through, right?
Trying to reason for why she goes even harder on the other daughter is because she feels like she failed her first daughter by not being hard enough. And that's the memory, that's the journey that she's going through up until this point, before she realizes that actually it's her fault, is that she just wasn't being hard enough and wasn't controlling enough and wasn't watching. She missed that her daughter had these dark tendencies, that was writing this creative novel. She was into these dark and seeded parts of society and she just missed all of this, and it was her fault, and it was her
she needs a
lack of being a good mother for not noticing this. So she then doubles down, triples down on the other daughter, to the point where the only thing she's got left is physical controlment of bang. But it's at that point that her humanity gets better of her, I guess. Yeah, so she just wanders off after not hitting her daughter into the back room, and then she goes back to the machine, doesn't she?
Yeah, I think she's just suddenly got. I don't know. She goes to the machine one last time, I suppose, and just goes as far back as she can. She basically experiences her daughter's point of view of being born from her. She goes all the way back to like her birth, which as an idea, like when I mean, so much of this show, if you sum it up on paper and tell about it, it's like, that's cool. Like, you know, she literally has her daughter's memories of her death and works her way back all the way to her birth as a sort of emotional climax. That's kind of cool. I'm not really convinced the show explores that enough.
No. So much so that I think I blinked when we got to this birth bit, because I can't remember it for the life of me. Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
That feels like the climax.
When did she type mother or mum? Because I thought that was the climax, when she types in mum and then.
But is that not what this types up?
Oh yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, sorry. Yes, it is.
That is
yeah,
part of
she
climax.
types mum, and then that takes her right back to the beginning. So yes, I did literally blink, because, like you say, they didn't explore it particularly well. She gives birth. Blah blah blah. Move on.
It's just like we're seeing. Again, it wasn't done well enough to make us feel like that's what she's experiencing, her daughter being born. It felt more like it's the mother remembering. Do you know what I mean? There was just nothing visually smart or cluing in that this is a POV of her being born. It felt like the mother's POV of her being born.
Yep.
But so she comes out of this memory weeping, and I guess she sort of makes peace with her daughter. Her daughter's standing there in front of her.
Yeah.
And she says, like, I love you, and I'm sorry. And the mother says the same thing, I guess, you know. It all clicks finally, and they sort of ghost hug it out.
Yeah. And the camera pulls back to reveal her just sort of sat hugging the air. I guess during that flashback, once we get the baby, we then get a sequence of just her mother being very controlling and angry. And
oh yeah, of course. Sorry. Let's not leave that out. A lifetime of just
oppression,
battlement. Just do better, work harder, study harder. You're not very smart. You're embarrassing. Like,
I'm a professor, masters, US. Don't let me down. Don't let your father down. Your daughter, your sister's so much under you. You are so much better. Don't look at her.
I can't believe I forgot that. That's more of the key, I suppose. Like a lifetime clip compilation of forced upon the mother. She kind of gets it finally. She sort of puts her hand to her mouth and gasps.
It's like the Saw flashback. Yeah, so they're hugging it out.
I guess the mother
and
takes the blame. Takes the blame.
Yeah, she finally comes to a realization that she was culpable.
Very key to the blame.
Pushing her daughter over the balcony, basically. And it was a very sad realization. That moment for me, I felt very sad for the mother, because she just didn't know. She had no idea. She only saw the world one way.
Yeah, I think you're more sympathetic to her for me, because I just don't think they showed the mother's point of view genuine enough. Like, it felt societally, you're making up words with society at the beginning. Societically, it felt she just didn't want to be embarrassed by her daughter. It was kind of like a mass key parts to it, which wasn't enough for me to go, oh yeah, when I'm that age and I've got a daughter, I'll be worried about embarrassment. It wasn't like we saw her fears of her child being homeless and ridiculed or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was how it reflected her. So strongly.
I guess what it is it's a cultural thing, isn't it? In that culture, this is the norm, and as this program is probably it's made for that and not made for Westerners. That's almost a given. It's an understanding in that environment, whereas over here it's alien. So kind of explained to us in a way a bit better than what it is done currently here in these on children, but in its home country where that is prevalent, it probably doesn't need explaining as much.
I mean, I have a quote from an article from the showrunner stroke director. In the drama series, the mother is representative parent in all 5 stories, whilst the father appears to be missing in the children's upbringing process. Many house chores and children-related events always fall on the mother. One could be disqualified for not feeding breast milk after giving birth or not taking care of the child by herself. A mother always takes the blame if the child is either too skinny or too fat or demonstrates poor academic performance. I don't think mothers are all that embracing. She since said to go on like, this is her show to help like liberate children, and she's not anti-mother. She's basically said that she's got, I think, a new film coming out, a new romantic relationship film that is going to be like, this one's for the mothers. Like this show we're watching now on children is for the children.
Right. Okay.
And so that's, I don't know, that's something she said, and I guess I buy into it. You know, it's like she does seem quite cool. It was quite a cool article and stuff.
No, wicked. You send it over. I'll read it.
I will do. I don't know. Do you find it's always weird how when someone has an output, it's always you're either a painter or a writer. Like when someone has an think about any show we've watched where a child is feeling repression or anyone's feeling repression. Every outpouring is always writing or painting or sketching or drawing. It's not strange. It's just at this stage, it's like quite an easy metaphor.
Yeah,
for like
artistry,
outpouring of creativity. It needs to come out some way. No one ever.
Well, we have music is another one, I guess, isn't it? You could say.
But again, another creative.
We haven't had that yet.
That's considered fun. You know what I mean? No one's like, I'm really into accounts. I get hard into mathematics. That's my out.
Sculpting is again as a creative.
I mean, I can see why it's the easy metaphor because it's it's done on emotion and feel. It's done well.
Yeah, it's creative. I guess you could say accounting in the wrong hands could be creative. Some creative accounting has got a lot of people into trouble, but
I guess it always seems unsafe as well. Like your hobby's accounting, great, because you'll always be able to find an accounting job. Whereas an artist or a musician is not always going to struggle, but like, what is your future? What are your plans? Are you going to be a freelance artist or something?
What if you do? What if you don't succeed? What if you don't sell anything? What if you're not very good?
So this felt like not standard, but I think as well, the first episode was super dreamy. The second episode was pretty surreal. This felt much more return to a straightforward ABC. I know I said it, for me, it had some almost visual cues, maybe missing from certain flashbacks, but this felt the most straightforward, clear story.
Yeah, I think I said at the beginning, it felt grounded to me. Felt like it was, like you say, it followed narrative structure that was almost correct to the real world.
Like I see, I know you mean like it could happen if technology could get there. I think I was listening to an interview with Ray Bradbury, and he was saying like, I'm not a sci-fi writer, I'm a fantasy writer. But no, all your stuff's in space. But no. Sci-fi stuff that could potentially happen one day with technology. Fantasy, this flat ain't happening.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I guess this one felt sci-fi.
Yeah.
The others were far too fantastical. Not too fantastical, but that its core was something along there.
Yeah, like parallel universes and.
I guess I found it hard.
Kittens that became plants.
I guess I found it hardest to watch purely because of the mother was just a hard, frustrating watch to see the person we blame lead it. The last episode with the kid with the cats, and like there's a turnaround, and we're supposed to be sympathetic to the kid. And to an extent we are, but the redemption arc is just lost on me. This kid who just killed like 10 cats outside of his stress. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not answering with her to these pressures. And I understand that the show's about how far he'll go to escape this reality.
Yeah.
But when he comes back, he hasn't done anything in my eyes to go, hey, I'm not worried for him or his future anymore.
Yeah.
And in a similar sense with the mother in this one, I guess actually, no, not as bad. I did come around to understanding of what was going on in this and what we were meant to feel, even though I
didn't need to take an hour and a half to tell us the bloody thing. That for me was the downside to this episode, is it was very long for a simple message.
Because these are initially aired in 2 parts, at no point do I feel there's a fade to black and whew, that's part 1 over with.
No.
I don't know where part 1 and 2. I mean, outside of literally just pay attention to the halfway mark.
End and begin. No, completely agree.
Acting was all right. I guess the mother did a great job.
Yeah, the mother was brilliant. I thought the mother was really good. The father didn't have a lot to do.
I mean, I guess that's his role, right? Like the blasé, emotionally
the phone
absent
starer. And then, obviously the doctor. she didn't like particularly, psychiatrist. The nuances in her performance didn't change up at all in any way, shape or form when she took on the mother as a client either, really.
No, she was basically bitchy. She's chucking sass at her and bitchiness.
Yeah.
I guess I don't think I wrote any examples of it, but it was it was hard to watch. Just like, do some research. I don't know what her direction was.
Yeah. Just sit in the corner and twiddle your pen and
be annoyed.
Yeah.
I went hiking over, must be last summer now, maybe the beginning of this summer. I've lost track of time in a scary way. And we were in this small town and it was 8, 9. And we sort of like, let's get some food before it's too late. And we went into this place and we're like, let's eat in because, we're in a tiny hotel. And so the woman was instantly like tutting, like, hey, sorry, are you still open? It says like open till 7 and it's 6:30, which, as far as we're concerned, we can eat and be out. So do you want takeout? Like, is it right to eat in? And like instant, so like, okay. And, when you instantly want to go, but it's just awkward. You want to go. Yeah. So we sat down and we're looking at the menu and she's like, can I get you some drinks? I was like, could you get 2 Cokes? She was like, we're vegan. I'm like, okay, just...
What? Hang on. Coke's not vegan?
I don't know. We didn't look into it. We're still not sure. We joke about it a bit. But then she sort of like went, because there was takeout customers. Yeah. And we were like, let's go watch it our backs turned. Because we were just a bit too embarrassed. We're like, we're going to go somewhere else. So we just legged it. But it was this thing of like, we asked her if it was okay to come in. Why didn't she just say, no, sorry, we're too close to closing? It was just one of these baffling, frustrating things where like...
Was there anybody else in there?
Not sitting in, no. But quite a few people coming in to take out.
Right.
So, but we asked, we're like, is it okay to come in and sit to eat? It's like, I mean, so what? They go, we're busy. Like, well, busy's good. But also just say no. You know what I mean? Like, don't say yes and then resent us. And anyway, that little story is kind of where I felt that the psychiatrist was like, don't take on a patient and then resent her being there.
Yeah, completely. So where are we rating this one? So it's out of 5 the last, is it? Yeah, we've done about 5 for the last 2. So. See, we've got a low bar. This is the problem.
I guess this is the cleanest episode we've seen.
So
on that aspect, I'm putting it high. I don't want to start breaking down our review to performance scripts and just say overall.
I'm the same though.
So we're out of 5?
Yeah, we're out of 5.
I'm going to give it a 3.
Oh. Okay.
Is that high? Is that off because it's high?
No, I was going to go a 4 because I feel like I don't know if it could get much better than this and that's not saying much. But
I think I preferred the last episode just because.
Oh, really?
That kid that performance of the kid and his mum was enough for me for the story to not make up in my eyes. And let's not get into it. Go back and listen to an episode. But the performance was so mesmerizing and fun to watch in a gross wave. And
that's true.
I would rate that episode based on it's one of those, films where like it's not great, but like Al Pacino these days, he's done a lot of shit films, but he's always great to watch.
Yeah. No,
whereas this one,
okay, so 3, three's a fair score. Then I would go with 3 as well.
I've been saying that I don't remember what I rated the last one, but if you're asking me now, let's put the other one for me 3.5 to 4, even with its climactic.
No, I hated the last one. I gave the last one like a 2.5. I think.
Just unbearable. I mean, 2.5 is not bad out of 5.
No, is
I have noticed
rating.
The average rating of this is high. It's like 7 to 8 to 9 star on average.
I
don't know if people only get far because if you watch an episode and you don't like it, you're going to stop watching. If you make it to the end, it's something you love. But the general consensus on the quick review sites and the IMDb, people really like it.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Maybe that
more fall on us for not liking it and still going. But, we started. So we're beyond the halfway point now.
Yeah, we are. Yes. So I was literally just sat here thinking, right, I can watch the next episode.
Let me go to it so we can read out the little synopsis of what's coming next.
Oh, next.
But as I said, all of them sound good on paper. The cat one, I was excited, and I was excited for you. It was like, a kid finds a box of cats and slips into a parallel universe. I'm like, well, that's cool. I like parallel universes.
Yeah, sounds like Alice in Wonderland. No, it's bloody not. It's just got something to do with the rabbit, I think, is it?
Peacock, a student from a modest home, attends an elite private school where she makes a life-altering deal with a talking peacock in a schoolyard.
That sounds just bloody brilliant.
I'm game, but I'm
not going to lie. That
once,
sounds wicked.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me 3 times. And we've got 2 episodes left to go. This is slightly on the shorter side. I think the first episode was 100 minutes, and now we're at 94 minutes. So prepare to have 6 minutes
an hour
of your life.
Hour and a half.
Free.
That's all right. That's pretty good. I can survive that, I think.
I hope you've been joining us. We should have said, and maybe I'll go back and slip this in. Hey, check out On Children. Is it good? If you're listening to this and I put it at the beginning, then we don't know because it's not that good. It's
well, it's definitely in. I'm
glad we're doing this like this.
Yeah.
It's like a book you're reading for a book group that is interesting, but you're not enjoying it. It's like, well, this was the only way I was going to get through it.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely would not be watching it. Would not have watched beyond half an hour of episode 1. Yeah,
we're going to rack up 7.5 hours of watching this, and then another 5 because of these podcasts.
That's dedication, that right there.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I wish I'd paid more attention. Me and Toby were like, hey, why don't we do an episode by episode thing? And I was just looking through what we could do to start with because I didn't want to do like a lot of shows we picked up. I was like, this could be cool, but it's like 22 episodes, which, so I was like, okay, this one's good. I didn't even realize it was each episode was going to be different. I definitely would have. I was sort of hoping for something where, what do you think is going to happen to that character next week? Oh, I don't know. We've been caught off guard, and we started, so we're finished. We'll worry about season 2 in like 6 hours when we finish season 1.
In Scott's defense, my recommendation was Cooking with Paris.
What is it? Because you got Jamie Oliver cookbooks, you're just in a cooking mode?
No, it just Netflix did its advert thing, and there's Paris Hilton. I was like, oh my god, I haven't seen her for a bloody long time. Let's do her episode thing. That can't be that long. How many episodes? Oh, it's only a few. Yeah, okay, let's do that. See what Scott thinks.
I mean, you know what I thought of the suggestion of it. I mean, I'm not going to veto too many, but I guess my argument is, of all the podcasts I love, because of the personalities, I wouldn't watch 10 episodes of them talking about Paris Hilton.
Oh, I think for me, that would be bloody hilarious. 2 guys have got 0 interest in Paris Hilton being subject to watching a Paris Hilton cooking show. And then having to talk about it. That's just comedy gold. Also,
why don't you watch one drivel and tell me? Let's wrap this first. Jeez, like On Children isn't chore enough. You already want to start with 7 hours of Paris Hilton dribbling on about I don't know, cooking a chicken.
Beans on toast.
I don't know.
Anyway,
well, let's worry about season 2
after
season 1. Thanks for listening, people. I've been Scott.
Yes.
Toby's
I've
with me.
been Toby.
God damn. That's a high rating. Hey, we're going to wrap it up around there. I want to thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed. Join us again next episode. And until then, have a great day. Toby keeps sending me a text going, I've watched the episode. And I go, I'm going to watch mine tonight. And then he'll just send me a laughing emoji. Like,
crying,
joke's on
laughing.
you, buddy. I've watched it. I don't have to watch it anymore.
My work here is done.